not being able to attend, so she asked me to come in her place. I'm Don Roten with the hospital, and a couple housekeeping items. For those of you who do come to these conversations often, on October 11th, we're having a core community conversation, what you need to know about donation. I believe that means supporting donation. And that'll be with Alyssa McQuillan. And then on November 8th, Enhancing Dignity and Ethics with Jennifer Buckman, a community nurse liaison with Hospice of Crawford County. So those are the last two for this year, and then we'll get everything scheduled again for next year. And we're excited to share that we're going to have 2 tracks next year. These types of conversations, and then a how-to series. So it was my idea because every year I get stuck fixing my small engine, on my lawnmower, on my weed whacker, and I said, let's get a how-to series, and let's start with small engines so I can figure out how to fix my stuff without spinning it everywhere. So there'll be a whole how-to series as well as next year. So this is on the, what is it, second Tuesday of the month? So that'll be the 4th Tuesday of every month. So we're excited about that. But tonight, we're fortunate to have Tammy with us, who is a certified personal trainer at the YMCA in town. And if you want to get a hold of her in the future, please contact Vernon Y.
Yeah.
Is what you suggested. And tonight, we'll be talking about setting fitness goals, nutrition, staying hydrated, aerobic.
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 See, he's thinking, it's because he's tall.
I'm out. Yeah, aerobic and resistance exercises and keeping an activity food log. So please welcome Tammy.
Okay, and I'm going to cheat and use notes, so I hope you're okay with that. It's just, I don't want to leave anything out, and if I don't use them, then I tend to, and then I get mad on my way home. I'm like, oh, I should have said that. So this makes sure I don't forget anything. I'm going to, if I start getting chilly, I'll grab my coat, because I'm not real good at air conditioning. I'm going to start with a few other things, but I promise you I'll get to what is on our sheet, okay? All right, so a statistic, and this is kind of funny. How many people do you think keep their January New Year's resolutions?
10%.
You're close. 8%. And I find that amazing. January 1st is actually my favorite time of year. And the only reason why, and it's not because, well, I don't know. It used to be my brother Larry's birthday. But January 1st is when everybody is so excited about taking care of themselves. And for me, in my industry, I mean, that is just, if that's what it's going to take to get people off the couch, I love it. If that's what it's going to take. The trick is for us, in my industry, is keeping them there. How do we do that? That's a huge trick. How do we keep that motivation? How do we keep them excited? How do we keep them off the couch and in the Y, or not in the Y, and just active? That's not easy. And that shows 8%, that's horrible. 92% fail. And it's not even 92% because not everybody tries. Some don't care. They think it's stupid. Well, I'm not doing it anyway. Why am I going to start now? So, like I said, some don't even care. But if you've been there and you quit, we need to figure out why and what is it going to take to keep you moving. That's the trick. So I'm hopefully going to get you, here's some ways to bounce back and get you moving. Okay, so if you have any questions, please don't wait till the end. You can interrupt me. It doesn't bother me a bit. I usually get interrupted anyway. So the biggest thing is to start small and make your realistic changes realistic. So if, let's say, your first change is just drinking some water, because most people don't. We walk around and we're just dehydrated. That's why my first comment was, I wonder how many people even brought water with them. Usually mine's coffee in the morning, but I'll at least have coffee. I've changed that habit. Coffee and water, I'll have both. So if you didn't, that's why I was like, oh, well, if they didn't, at least maybe they'll go get some. So that's the biggest thing. So maybe week 1 is just to add a liter of water a day. A liter sounds like a lot if you're not drinking any at all, right? So maybe, okay, start with 16 ounces or more. How can you track that? This is something that I came up with, and probably somebody else did before me, but I just thought it was an easy idea. That water bottle that you have there, what if you put 4 rubber bands around it? And your goal by the end of the day is to remove those rubber bands. And as you remove them, put 1 around your wrist. So the goal is to have all those rubber bands on your wrist at the end of the day. 4. Yeah, but if maybe you're not even drinking 1. So put 1 rubber band around it, start there. Once you get used to that and your body's used to that, then go to 2 and go to 3. It's a way to track, that's all it is. It's an easy way to track. So you start there. If you're not moving, okay, so now you have to start moving. I suggest pedometers. People, what's a pedometer? It's a little tracking device, and I use one. Excuse my little thing here. It's an up move, but it has a pedometer in it. And what it does is tell me how many steps I'm moving in a day. People will ask me, well, why do you do that? How can I suggest something to people if I don't do it myself? Then I'm not a very good example. It doesn't work that way in my world. I just don't think it's fair. So, but you can use you can go to Walmart and get a pedometer. Goodness, they're not expensive. Put it on your hip, go for a walk. Keep it there all day. And at the end of the day, it's going to tell you how many steps are you taking. The goal should be 10,000. That was set a long time ago by one of our, the guy was, I'll think of him in a minute. But it was in the early 80s, I think. May even been earlier than that. He set that standard, 10,000 steps. And it was a goal just to get people moving and for those that wanted to lose weight. 10,000 steps is actually 5 miles. If you think about it, that sounds like a lot, and it is. But if you're moving that many steps in a day, just everyday activity, guess what? That's pretty doggone good. And a lot of people, once you start tracking, if you have a sit-down job, that's pretty hard to do. But it's pretty fun when you start tracking your steps to see how many you're taking. And if you find out you're only taking 1,000, then you change that goal. Well, I'm going to start taking 2,000. And you hit that 2,000, you go, well, now I'm going to start going 3. Little bit at a time. You can do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Okay? The biggest thing is the commitment. And January, what happens is people underestimate how hard that is. So what I say is, what's the word that I used instead of a buddy system? I'll find it here somewhere. But getting that friend. Because when you get out of work, it's real simple to say, I'm not going to go today, I'm just going to go home. But if you have a friend that's at the Y or at a gym somewhere waiting on you on a recumbent bike, not so easy to blow that friend off, right? It's a lot harder to do that. So find a workout partner. And you can do that with your nutrition as well. You say, okay, we're going to catch base at night and say, how did you do? Well, you know, lunch wasn't so easy. I ended up going to McDonald's. Well, if you got a friend that you have to tell that to, it gets a little bit harder. You know, you can lie, but what good is that? I can't do that. You'd be able to read that right through me. I just cannot. I grew up with a lot of siblings, and yeah, you usually got left hook cried if you lied. So, you know, it's easier if you have a friend with you. So find that buddy, you know, and make it somebody that you have to be accountable to. It's always better with a pal. So find that person, okay? All right, nutrition, that's where I say become a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, pack your lunch. Because you go to a restaurant and boy, I tell you, they're giving you too much food. It's crazy. There's no kind of portion control there. But if you pack your lunch, and I can see here they have staff food only. So you've got a refrigerator, most places do now. So take it. You know, it can be leftover dinner and you just use portion control, of course, and take it with you. So you know what you're cooking at home, I hope, is sort of kind of nutritional, but it's not anything that's way too much food or something that you have control over. And it sure is a heck of a lot cheaper. Not only are you saving your belly, but you're saving your wallet. It's a lot better to go about things that way, right? Is that a yes or a yeah? Yeah. That's what I thought. I was just checking. All right, so going to keep an activity food log. I wrote on here, if you go a scenario, like I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of times it's not like when January comes around, it's not that they didn't want to keep it, keep their goals. And it's not that they didn't know enough. It's what I use is paralysis by analysis. And so to explain that, let's say you go to work and you've got a friend that says, man, I lost a bunch of weight and this is how I did it. So you're going to try to follow theirs, and it's because they cut out all their carbs. But yet there's a guy on TV that says you can't do that. You can't cut, maybe it's Dr. Oz, and he says you can't cut out all your carbs. But then you go on the internet and there's some paleo diet or something like that, so you're getting all this information and you're like, you just throw up your hands and say, forget it, there's just too much, I can't do this. And that's usually what happens when it comes to nutrition. There's just way too much information out there. You had the best intentions, you just don't know what to do. Get the right help. Don't just throw up your hands. Figure out, what it is. Start a food log if you have to. Get the right advice. There is people out there that know what they're doing and will help you. At least give yourself that window. And then say, okay, now at least if I have the right path, it's not something that you have to pay for forever and a day, Or if you find something that, let's say, you follow Weight Watchers. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying it's the best path, because I'm not. I can't stand the whatever they do, exchanges or whatever. I don't quite get that. But you can try anything for a little while and see if it's going to work. It will work if you follow it. But if all of a sudden it sets your body off and you're not feeling well, guess what? That didn't work. It's the trick is you have to follow it. Does that make any sense to you at all? So if you don't feel well, don't ever do high protein. That doesn't work. That's not good for you. Yeah. So DX that, anything will work, because that won't work. But if you follow something and it makes good, healthy sense, it will work. Does that make any sense? Okay, good. I'm going to go off to another one. All right, so snares. There are snares to exercise. Example, leading a healthy lifestyle and losing weight certainly doesn't give way to going out after work all the time or eating out, like I said. But it's everything in moderation. It doesn't mean you can't do that all the time. It's pick a day, go out for one meal. Do you remember when cheat meals or cheat days used to be the thing? Yeah. That doesn't work. You can't blow the entire day, because then you just blew everything you did all week. That was a big thing. I can't remember who did that. We get a lot smarter. Yeah, you can have a cheat meal. That's called sanity. But you can't blow the entire day, because then you just blew your whole week. So go and have that cheat meal. That allows you some sanity in what you're doing, then get right back on track again. Because guess what? That cheat meal isn't going to feel as good when you're done. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Your cheat meal is going to end up getting smaller and smaller. You'll end up having what you want, but it's not going to be in a plate that's this big. It's going to be like, okay, I do want that, but I just want a little bit. I don't want a whole lot. Because you get smarter, and you know what that ends up feeling like. So allow yourself those. It gets better, trust me. All right, so now getting on to what's on that sheet. I thought maybe you guys all have that, but it doesn't. Setting fitness goals. So there's some benefits to setting goals. Satisfaction, self-confidence, increased focus, increased motivation. Oh, good job, buddy. So these are very important. So you've got to set your goals, but you have to make them realistic. So if you don't set goals, then you're kind of out there just going, what am I doing this for? So my thought is to set them for 12 weeks. Okay? So if you're starting here's what I don't like is Mondays. Well, I'm going to start Monday. Well, I'm going to start Monday. And then guess what? You blow Monday, then the whole week's gone. And you're going to say, I'm going to start Monday. How many times have we all said that? Mondays are dangerous. They really are, because that happens all the time. And then Mondays and Mondays and Mondays, well then that was January, now we're in September. You know, how many times between that time did you say, I'm going to start on Monday? So you've got to you're going to set some goals, and you're going to go 12 weeks out and say, okay, from here to here, this is what my goals are. But then you break them down even further, and you go, okay, in that 12 weeks, in this 4 weeks, this is where this is what I'd like to accomplish. And then in those 4 weeks, this is what I'd like to accomplish, and in those 4 weeks. That way, when you get to the 12 weeks, it's like, wow, that went pretty quick. So it's not the Monday, oh my God, I'm going to start over. Forget those. You're going to go these little. And you break it down that way, it's not so overwhelming, and you're not going to blow the whole week. If you blow a day, so what? Move on. Not the whole week. Don't say I'm going to start over again and wait till Monday. You can't do that. All right, so 12-week plan, okay, and keep the goals smaller. Little bit at a time, little bit at a time. Keep an activity log so you know what you're doing. If you're saying, okay, well, I've been running for 35 years. I swear to goodness I could probably look back and tell you what I did 4 years ago. I'm just that way. I've always kept a log. It becomes habit. I don't know why I've just always done that. But I've never quit running. And that's probably why. I don't know how it ever started that way, but if you make a habit of things, they stay a habit. You just don't quit. It's not even anything that becomes it just becomes part of everything. Just like getting up and having breakfast. And that's something that I was talking about with the woman that's going to be doing that. She's trying to get people to eat breakfast. And I said, well, that means to break the fast. That's what breakfast is. You should eat breakfast. Well, just like you should set goals. And if you don't, they're just out there. So set goals for yourself and move on. Keep going. Go towards those goals and do it with a friend. Make it something that the two of you are going to work on together. I don't care if it's your mom, your brother, your sister, best friend. It doesn't matter. You know, set it together. That way you have somebody to work on it together. You know, right now it's my dog. Well, I live with my mom. She's a little bit, I take care of her, so that doesn't work out. But guess what? He's always there. You know, I open the door, there he is, and away we go. And it's just somebody that you can count on. So make it somebody that you can count on, okay? So keep, has anybody heard of MyFitnessPal? Has anybody ever used it? It's really cool. Yeah, it's free, and it's a neat way to teach you about nutrition. So it's another way to keep a log, only this one is for your nutrition. And it's an eye-opener. If you think, well, I'm doing pretty good. Well, it's going to teach you how you're doing with your nutrition log. So if you have a computer, you can go on, you just put in Google, or you can put it up in the little, whatever that's called. I'm not a computer geek. MyFitnessLog, or MyFitnessPal, sorry. And you can put in there what you ate, and it's going to calculate for you what your calories are, because you have to tell how much. What your calories are, your carbohydrates, your proteins, and you can change it if you want to know. Like I wanted to know how much protein, iron, because it's just stuff that I wanted to know. And you can put in there, you want to know, what else did I put? Calcium and something else. So you can pick what you want to know. And it's going to tell you. The computer will tell you how you're doing with your nutrition. It's really cool. So instead of just writing it down and looking at it and going, wonder how I'm doing, this is telltale everything. So it's a great way, and you're staring right at it. So it's going to tell you how you're doing. Okay? Any questions so far? Am I boring you to death? MyFitnessPal, P-A-L. Yep. Okay. Because if you're trying to do it with a piece of paper and we are so wrong about what we're taking in. We can guess and say, oh yeah, I'm not eating much. Really? I've done that, sit down with a lot of people when they say, well, I eat healthy. Really? really? A lot of people's definition of healthy versus unhealthy is so different because you're going to eat the way you grew up. You're eating what you grew up. And you think it's healthy because that's what you know, but you don't know unless you put it down in front of somebody that knows better because they're educated in that field. So until I've gone into homes and gone through because that's what they wanted me to do, go in and go through their cupboards and go, really? And point out the sodium levels, the trans fats, the things that are not so healthy, and their mouths about fell on the floor. And they're the ones with heart problems and things that they have got to be watching for. So it's just pointing out and saying, okay, there's better options. I'm not saying you can't have this, there's just healthier options. So you just have to be aware. So when you have something to pull it out and say, okay, this is what's in there, oh. So it's really cool to have tools like that. And they're out there. So I would use it. Like I said, it's free, and that's my favorite word. So. There's one here. I can read it. You can tell me what you think. It's calorie limits encourage the what the hell effect. Hope I can say that word. I read this and was like, wow, it's kind of interesting. And I was like, well, I don't understand what that means. So I'll read it and you tell me what you think. Fair? All right. It's called Another Problem with Having an Arbitrary Calorie Goal is that encourages what is known as the what the hell effect. Research has shown that dieters have a tendency to psychologically batch a given day into good, meaning they had a good day, stayed under their calorie goal. So if you have a calorie goal of 1,500 calories, they think it's good if they stayed under that goal, okay? Or hopeless, I screwed up, so what the hell? And that's what I'm saying. So they gave up and just said, oh, what the hell, I screwed up anyway, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. It might well enjoy it now and start again tomorrow, meaning the Monday. Yep. In these instances, dieters typically eat far more than they ever would have if they hadn't dieted in the first place, undoing days of virtuous behavior. The psychology of a dieter does more harm than good in the long run, and counting calories only serves to encourage this. And that's why I say basically the Monday. Because if you mess up, you're just like, well, I'll start over tomorrow or start over Monday, and the entire day is lost. So you kind of really just, if that happens, let it go. Continue on. Don't throw the entire day or the entire week away. Go on. And it happens. It's not such a big deal. Okay, and counting calories, I don't know that is such a good idea because it kind of feels neurotic, I think. Because if you think about it, and if you know what a serving size is, does anybody know what a serving size is? Because you can learn that pretty easy. Like the size of your fist, palm of your hand for proteins. If you learn it, because everybody's palm's different. I assure you his palm's bigger than mine. So I'm not going to eat his size in protein, I'll eat mine. Yeah, it makes a big difference. So you learn those little tools, like the size of your pinky for a piece of cheese is 1 ounce. Yeah, so you learn these little tools, then you're not having to necessarily count calories. The only reason why I said MyFitnessPal is because it's an eye-opener for you on how much food you're eating. So once you learn that, then it's not such a big deal. But anyway, okay. But on to aerobic and resistance exercise. Okay, I'm good. Do you know the difference between aerobic and anaerobic? Anybody? Okay. Aerobic is treadmills, bicycles, ellipticals, to where you're actually getting your heart rate up and it's sustaining a higher beat. So anaerobic is like weight training, or anaerobic could still be like a sprint and stopping. So it's up and down, up and down. Okay? Does that make sense? So that's your difference, anaerobic, aerobic, or aerobic and resistance. Resistance exercises, weight training. okay? Both have a place in your world, both definitely are needed, okay? It took me a long time to get women to understand that they need to weight train, because they don't want to weight train, they're afraid they're going to get bigger. Thankfully, women are getting a lot stronger, or a lot wiser now, that weight training is good, because we lose what we don't use, and you need to weight train. I know I've been running for 35 years, and when I was younger and running, I was a little stocky runner. When I started weight training, down I went. Was shocked at the difference that weight training does for women. It just, because muscle, when you break the muscle fibers down, they burn calories like crazy. Just burning, 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 burning. So your body is burning calories. It's trying to heal itself. So what's that going to do? I mean, obviously your body has to work harder. So women need to weight train to get the calorie burns, to get stronger, so we can get over that whole thought of, oh my goodness, I'm going to get bigger. We really don't have that makeup. We don't have that testosterone level like men do that can get bigger. So it's a good thing. We need to do that. Plus you got to think of, as we age, we need that range of motion, you know, our shoulders and everything else need that range of motion. So it's a good thing. Very, very necessary. Staying hydrated, like I said, that's huge. Water, our body's 60% water, if not a little higher. So you need to have that water. It's not the first thing we go for in the morning. It's usually coffee. It's a little bit of water, but not what we really need. So staying hydrated. We are probably, if I had to guess percentages, 90% of us are dehydrated. You know, and when we say we're not thirsty, well, that's a problem. Need to be drinking water. So, very, very important. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, here's a good test for hydration. We did this with my mom. Pinch your hand. So if you pinch the top of your hand, your skin should fall right back down. If it does not, if it stays up a little bit, you're dehydrated. Yeah. So that's a good test. Did it fall? Yeah, you need some water. Yeah. That's a good test. I can tell you, my mom, she doesn't drink enough water. I'm constantly on her. She learned her lesson. She got severely dehydrated and had to take her to the hospital. It was not a fun trip. Yeah, so you don't want to get to that point. So that's a good test for yourself, is pinch your skin. If it doesn't drop, that ought to tell you something. If your skin's sticky, it's like, yikes, drink some water. Yeah. It's like, oh, start doing that. It's a good test, trust me. And definitely if you get dizzy, that's another one. First thing you want to think about is, drink some water. I'm not saying that could definitely be the problem, but it could be part of the problem. You don't want to be getting dizzy. Okay? Keep your dry mouth at bay. If your mouth is dry, start drinking some water. These are just little things that are telling you you've got to be drinking more water. Pay attention to your muscles. Lean muscle tissue contains more than 75% water, so when your body's short on H2O, muscles are more easily fatigued. So, okay, so you need to really pay attention. So hydration is really, really important. I think we overlook that thinking, we're good. Yeah. Take the 10 tips to fall into fitness. There's some really good stuff on there. It's just basic, what to me that I would call basic, but a lot of people may not know, but I think it's interesting because that's just me. I'm one of those geeks. I like it. Does anybody have any questions? Trying to think if there's anything I left out.
As you know, we go to the Y.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to get started at the Y with the people taking you around and show you the machine and exercise.
Mm-hmm.
We started out with 2 weeks and we had a month, and now we signed up 3 months. And I found the hardest thing about exercising at the Y is getting my butt in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once I get in the car and get here, once you're there, it's easy, it's fun, and we do it as a
Mhm.
family. And it's really helped outside tremendously to me. I have heart problems and artificial joints and everything, and keeps me moving.
Mhm.
And it helps her because her job is sedentary. But like I said, the hardest thing about it is, just like I always said about going to work, hardest thing is getting out the door to go to work. Once
Yeah.
you work, you're gonna work. And the Y it's really a good place, it's a fun place to go. There's
Yeah.
a lot of nice people and get a lot of help. So it's really, it's helped us tremendously. So,
Yeah, that always reminds me of the 20-minute rule. If you don't, there was times I just didn't want to go running. I'm like, well, 20-minute rule. You had to get away from the house for 20 minutes because no matter what, that meant 40 minutes. I was out for 40 minutes no matter what. So no matter where you go, of course I want to promote the Y. I love the Y. We have so many programs there and so many people to help. That's what we're there for, you know, and we're not there to turn anybody away. I mean, we have programs to get everybody in that door, no matter what the situation. But if that's not something you want to do, okay. So find a way. You know, if it's just walking outside and you don't feel like walking that day, use the 20-minute rule. I have to get 20 minutes away from the house. And if you haven't been walking, then use the 10-minute rule. I've got to get at least 10 minutes away from the house. Start your watch. 10 minutes. So then at least you're out for 20 minutes. No matter what. Find some rule, find something to get yourself moving. And you can start slow. Like I said, start exercising every other day. So you're starting that way. But then, okay, Belly, easy. I'm not hungry either. I don't know why it's talking. Might be saying I need water. You know, start that way. You know, but do something if you haven't been doing anything, because that's what I always tell people: you will lose what you don't use. Don't be that couch potato. You know, where you end up in your chair and you don't get up, because you won't get up. That's what ends up happening. Yes, ma'am.
So if we want to go, I belong to the Y, and I go to Pilates,
Okay.
and I do some of the machines, but if I would want to take a class for this weight training, what should I choose?
I do a Tuesday noon and a Thursday 6, where it's, if you want to learn and get like it's dirt cheap personal training, and I probably shouldn't be telling people, but that's what it is. It's $5 and you can come in and tell me, this is what I've been doing, how do I change it, or how do I do something? I'm literally going to end up writing you a program for $5. So that's what it is. That's what I'm doing, is literally writing you a program for $5, and you're with me for an hour. Yeah, and it's not my money, it's the YMCA's money. So it's Tuesdays at noon, and it's called, I can't even think what they call it. But if you go on meadvilleymca.org, it's on their website. So, and it's under Vernon Programs, I think, is where it is. But that allows you to take what you're doing and make changes. And there's one girl that comes in like every 6 weeks, and I change her program. I mean, she figured it out. She's no fool. And that's what she does. Every 6 weeks she comes, she sees me, I change her program. She loves it. Yeah. So that'll give you a really good idea of what you can do from what you're doing now. And if you're not doing anything, that's okay. Then I'll get you started. I mean, everybody starts there, you know. Heck, I started there. You know, we all go from somewhere but want to move up.
how much in advance do you have to know about being there for that day? Are you full? Do you have a lot of people? Students or...
No, the most I've had at one time were 2. At one time. So it's okay. Just, I mean, it's always nice to give me a heads up. You know, then I can put your name in that slot. You know, and then I'll even give you a heads up to say, hey, this is how many we have so far, and if you want to wait and move ahead, then I'll write you in. That's always a good idea. You know. But, you know, people have been taking advantage of it, and I think it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if they just don't know about it.
6 p.m. or 6 a.m.?
PM. Mm-hmm. Nope, Thursday, 6 a.m. I'm home with Jerry. I think she'd have a heart attack if I left her that early.
I know a lot of people go around.
Yeah. Oh, I know. No, I sneak out and run sometimes at that time because she's still sleeping. Yeah.
6 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anybody?
Carbs.
Yes.
So if you decide to eliminate bread and pasta and muffins, all that type thing, are those all carbs, or are there other foods that are carbs?
They are carbs, but why would you choose to eliminate?
Maybe I should use the word reduce.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're looking at reducing the carbohydrates that, like white breads, okay. Muffins that are processed, you know, that you're going to buy in the grocery store that were made by, like, I don't know, because I don't eat them. Hostess. There, good one, good one. Yes, because there's totally processed and a ton of sugar. I can understand that, absolutely. But if you're not celiac and don't have a problem with those grains, then I would totally suggest you stick with your whole grains, not the ones that have been altered. You don't want the ones that the hull's been removed from the grain and now you have this white bread that's just like air and sugar. Yeah, you don't want that. Stick with the whole grains. Your body knows what to do with that, and those are good carbohydrates. What you don't want is a loaf of bread. You want a piece of bread. You want to stay within that portion control. That makes sense. And those are good for you. That's giving your body energy. You want that. The other carbohydrates you want are your fruits and vegetables. Absolutely you want those. Don't deprive yourself of those. What you don't want is the cookies and the everything else and I'm not saying don't ever eat those, because what's going to happen is you're going to crash and just say, forget that, and I'm going to go eat, you know, a dozen donuts. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, you want to allow that. That's what your cheat meal is for. Let's say you want pizza, okay, then have that pizza. And afterwards you want that cookie, okay, have that cookie, but make it at a meal so that you have sanity in your life, and then get back on your plan again. And then all week you're not going to be like, God, I should have that cookie. And you're going to go steal a dozen cookies somewhere and sit in your bedroom. You know, that's not what you want. Have that sanity in your life to where if you're, you know, packing your kid's lunch and you don't have to snag it, and, you know, you've already had that and you feel okay. You know, but the stuff that's been altered and has a ton of sugar, you don't want that stuff, because that's just going to send your body everywhere and blood sugar everywhere, and one's never enough because you're going to want more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always heard, what do you think about this? An apple, great. Applesauce, worse. Apple juice, even worse. Like the more processed food becomes,
Yeah.
the more a grain is beat down, the less natural initial value that it has.
Mm-hmm.
Like an apple, applesauce, apple juice. I mean, the further it gets processed, the worse it is.
I think the more natural it is, absolutely. I think it is the best for you because your body can use that. The more it's altered, the less you're getting. The more it's processed, then where's everything going? I mean, I'm not saying you can't have juice, but when you look at the container and what all is in there? Yeah, it's all sugar. And they say, well, there's sugar in apple. I'm like, okay, so God's an idiot. I'm sorry. He knew what he was doing when he made that fruit, you know. The fruit's okay. You know, now if you're diabetic, I'm not going to throw a banana at you, but hello. that you've got to use some common sense there. You know?
And like vegetables, a carb,
Mm-hmm. A good carb.
a great carb.
A great
So,
carb, yes.
People get like this.
Yeah, right, there you go. It's like, yeah, white potato's got the worst bashing in the world, and it's like, it's not the white potato, it's the sour cream you're dumping on it. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's just really, what are you doing to it?
And do you believe in the myth that once you hit menopause, your metabolism slows down?
I think really it's still going to be calories in versus calories out. That law of thermodynamics does not change. You still have to move. I mean, menopause absolutely does have an effect on your body. There is no denying that. But you still have to move. I think the older we get, the less we move, and then it's all blamed on something.
I've noticed that my weight stays the same, but my mom used to say it's the same over time has shifted.
Well,
It's all, I never had this.
okay, yeah, but what are you doing though? Has your diet changed? Okay, see, so that's changed. Yeah, so there's things you can do. I mean, like I said, I have, God forgive me for just a minute, I have an identical twin sister that's 65 pounds heavier than me. Why? Genetically, they say genetically we're the same. I don't know about that. No, I'm much more active. I don't drink. She doesn't smoke, thank God, but she likes great taste of beer. There's a difference there. I choose not to drink. I choose to eat healthy. There's a difference there. So it's all really, what are you doing? You know, it's that hand-to-mouth exercise and moving your feet. There's a big difference. And I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. I'm just saying, we all have choices. You know, I choose not to. That doesn't mean I suppose I could. I just don't want to. You know, it doesn't make me high and mighty. It just means I just prove not to. I don't want to. I love my sister dearly. Just don't do what she does.
I want to say, I find that I eat a salad and I mix in cucumbers and all sorts of vegetables, but I also mix in beans and rice too in my salad. I eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You eat the same?
I vary the vegetables, but the basic beans and rice thing, I cook it in a slow cooker. I cook it up for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I put it in the refrigerator and just take out a little bit every time. Lettuce and cucumbers and whatever I get cheaply at the broccoli, everything more or less raw. But not always. You can stir fry a little bit too. But that salad is really good with beans and rice. Brown rice.
Yeah, well, you're getting some protein from the beans, and you're still getting some protein from the vegetables as well.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot from the vegetables and more from the beans, but more power to you if you can eat the same thing all the time. I know a lot of people can't, but.
I don't change much. I've got onions and garlic too in it too.
Hey, I tell you, I mean, like I said, some of the things my mother eats, I wonder, but, but again, I mean, but you're healthy, no?
Lots of olive oil.
So you're getting healthy fats, that's correct.
Peanut butter, natural.
See, there you go. So you're getting your proteins. I'm certainly not going to cough at that. Yeah. You'll live a lot longer than a lot of people I know. More power to you. Yep. That's pretty cool.
I get all this from the diet. Well, one of my favorite diet books is called The Okinawa Diet.
Really?
Yeah, you can get this
Interesting.
on the internet or the library.
Mm-hmm.
You live longer than anybody else in the world.
I bet. Well, look at, there's nothing processed in there at all. Yep. That's pretty clean. Anybody else? Yes.
Weight training, are there
different styles of weight training, or is it all free weights, or you use machines? What are the options for weight training?
Both. You can use weight, you can use free weights, you can use selectorized equipment where you actually pull the pins, select the weight. It really just depends on you. I wouldn't throw anybody right into free weights because we have selectorized equipment. So for anybody that is just starting out, that has more control, so less chance of injury. So, yeah. But there's a ton of benefits to free weights because you're using a lot more of your body at one time. So I graduate people there. Definitely benefits to both. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Do you have yoga at the Y and the high school teaching only 1 day a week, or?
We have yoga. Are you talking at Vernon or downtown?
Yeah, you should at Vernon.
What, Elena, last name?
Toronto.
The name sounds familiar.
It was on Wednesday evenings. I'm not sure.
I'm in Cochranton on Wednesday evenings, but the name sounds familiar. I believe so, yes.
The last I checked, that was every day. As
Mhm.
far as you know, something when they didn't have it.
If you go on, like I said, meadvilleymca.org, check the schedule. It will not have the instructor name, but check the schedule. If the class is there, you can call the Y and they'll tell you who's teaching. Yep. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where's the Concord Y?
North Franklin Street. Right on the only main road in Cochranton. Next to the pizza. Here, this is called job security. There's the pizza place. Right around the corner is the beer distributor. There you go. Mhm. I always laugh about that. I'm like, well, this is interesting. Yep, that's where it's at. Used to be an old video store, but that's what it is. Yep, easy. Let's talk.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Please check out the program schedule online at meadvilleymca.org
Yes.
and give them a call.
And don't forget, there's information up here too if you're interested in taking a courier and the 10 tips and the tips. Okay?